Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in a game called Akropolis. You can see here, this is my game of Akropolis on Board Game Arena recently, so I played it digitally but not in person. This is a photo from Board Game Geek showing what the tiles look like in person. The game consists of tiles that look like this. They're they're tiles that have 3 hexes within the tile. And I think playing in real life might be a little bit easier than on Board Game Arena, even though it's a really good implementation, just because it's easier to turn the tiles and see what fits where you need it to fit. Because certain tile types have requirements as to where they can go, or requirements as to where they can score. So they're only relevant, I think, like the blue tiles score for the biggest group of blue tiles. Red tiles score if they're on the edge of the city, things like that. You're scoring in 2 different ways, and they both tie to my favorite mechanism in the game, which is the multiple tiers, the level of tiers, because you're placing tiles often on top of each other. You can see here's 1 tier, here's a 2nd layer, a 3rd layer, even a 4th layer here. And let's start there with the scoring. So at the end of the game, you're going to look at all tiles that are eligible for scoring. They have to be visible, and they have to meet that tile type's requirements. So I mentioned blue, you're looking at the largest group of blue tiles. And you're looking at that within each tier of that tile type. So for example, I don't know if this is a great example, but basically the multiplier is equal to the tier itself. So the higher up you go, the higher the multiplier is. The multiplier at level 1 is just 1. So if I would normally score 4 points for red tiles, that's the default, that's the base level. But in the 2nd tier, if I had those same red tiles in the 2nd level, that's 4 times 2, so that's 8 points instead. So you're trying to build up your city vertically and then have a really great group of tiles or a really great scoring combination of tiles on the top levels. Like this player had a nice 3rd level and a 4th level here because the multiplier is so much higher there. At the same time, whenever you place a tile, you're covering up other tiles, and this is where the other scoring mechanism comes into play. And I think this is really key here. Even though I think it's the most interesting that you're scoring based on these tiers, the multipliers based on the tiers, the decision point is not interesting unless you are sacrificing something along the way, and that is what you're covering up as you're placing these tiles down on your map. This part of the puzzle is related to these stars, because at the end of the game, regardless of what level, what tier these tiles are on, you'll multiply the visible and eligible tiles for scoring times the multiplier. So for example, what we see here, we have 2 stars visible for yellow, and then we have yellow, yellow, yellow. 3 yellow tiles. You ignore this yellow tile because it has the stars on it. The scoring for these tiles would be 2 times 3, 6 points. So again, the tiers don't matter for the stars. It just matters that you can actually see those tiles. And so this is a huge part of the puzzle. You're trying to get some stars, trying not to cover them up, and then for the colors for which you have stars, you're trying to also not cover up those tiles, regardless of the tier that they're on. So you have this, like, you're building up, you're trying to get really great 3rd and 4th levels, but also trying to leave stars exposed and leave those colors of tiles, those types of tiles exposed anywhere on any tier. It's the balance between those two, the push and pull between those two, that makes for a really interesting, compelling puzzle in the game. And I think it all ties back to this idea that you are stacking tiles up. You're building these tiers, these multiple levels of tiles as you play. That's my favorite mechanism in Akropolis. If you have a different favorite mechanism or just want to talk about what you love about the game in the comments below, or if you can think of other games that use this 3D stacking, this tiered element to create an interesting puzzle, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below as well. Thanks.